Friday, September 6, Further Thought. Many things are happening in the world that are very disturbing. People truly are frightened about what is unfolding. How can we, as Seventh-day Adventists, with a kind of inside track on events, use these things to point people to the hope we have in Jesus and the promise of his coming? In the Desire of Ages, page 634, we read, "Because we know not the exact time of his coming, we are commanded to watch. Blessed are those servants," we read in Luke 12:37, "whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching." Those who watch for the Lord's coming are not waiting in idle expectancy. The expectation of Christ's coming is to make men fear the Lord and fear his judgments upon transgression. It is to awaken them to the great sin of rejecting his offers of mercy. Those who are watching for the Lord are purifying their souls by obedience to the truth. With vigilant watching, they combine earnest working. Because they know that the Lord is at the door, their zeal is quickened to cooperate with the divine intelligences in working for the salvation of souls. These are the faithful and wise servants who give to the Lord's household, as it says in Luke 12:42, their portion of meat in due season. They are declaring the truth that is now especially applicable. As Enoch, Noah, Abraham, and Moses each declared the truth for his time, so will Christ's servants now give the special warning for their generation. End of quote. And that brings us to our 4 discussion questions for this week. 1. It's one thing to give to the Lord's work. It's another to give sacrificially. What's the difference, and why is that difference important? 2. Why did God not prevent the persecution of his people through the centuries and in today's world? How does the great controversy motif help us understand somewhat why persecution exists? 3. What signs of Christ's coming especially stand out to you in the present world? And 4. Think about the state of the dead and the fact that the dead sleep until Christ returns. People close their eyes in death, and what is the very next thing they know? How does this idea help us see how, for each person individually, the second coming of Christ is always very near? And now it's time for Inside Story with Sibylla Harrold. Thank you, Sibylla.
Adventists Are Good People by Andrew McChesney. Anush worked as a project manager for the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, otherwise known as ADRA, before Father prohibited her and mother from worshipping at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in their town in Armenia. After he lifted the ban, Anush resumed working at ADRA. Through her work, Father met a number of visiting Adventist leaders, including the ADRA Director for the Euro-Asian Division, which oversees a large swath of the former Soviet Union, including Armenia. When Anush brought the guests home, Father was impressed to see that they were sincere and well-educated. "Adventists are good people," he told Anush. As he got to know the 7 women who attended the Adventist house church in his town, he concluded that they also were good people. Then Anush was accepted into a master's program at Andrews University in the United States, and the Euro-Asian Division and ADRA agreed to cover her costs. Father was impressed by that as well. He only wanted the best for her. When Anush graduated, she was appointed ADRA Director for Armenia. Father watched as she oversaw a number of projects, and his respect grew for both the Adventist Church and the Adventist lifestyle. He removed tobacco and then alcohol from the small grocery shop that he owned. Then he got baptized and joined the Adventist Church. It was 21 years since Mother had gotten baptized and 9 years since Anush had started praying for Father to find his way to God. After his baptism, Father met the friend whose question about reading the Bible had shocked him and prompted him to start going to church. "Did you know that your words changed my life?" he asked. "I stopped being a passive Bible reader and got baptized." "What are you talking about?" the friend asked. "You asked, if Jesus came tomorrow, would you say, 'I have read the Bible'? Would that be enough?" Father said. The friend denied that the conversation had ever taken place. "I never said that," he said. "I would never judge you like that. You must have made a mistake." At that moment, Father realized that God had spoken to him through his friend, who hadn't even realized what he had said. Part of last quarter's 13th Sabbath offering went to open a centre of influence for families like Anusha's in Yerevan, Armenia. Thank you for helping spread the gospel with your offerings. Next week we'll hear more about how Father has another dream.
This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. And you can listen and watch at the same time on YouTube. Remember, God is always faithful.